Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Epic Wednesdays, a world's finest collaboration between the forces of stately Vaughan Manor and Hyde Cottage, in which Michael K. Kropotkin Vaughan and I look at Marvel's epic collections, their paperback reprint volumes, in full color, one a week. Only in this particular Epic Wednesday, we're doing two epic collections. I'm letting Michael pick these since he has a gigantic collection of them. I'm letting him pick them, and he has picked two. The epic collection that reprints the first few issues of Conan the Barbarian from Marvel Comics from 50 years ago, written by Roy Thomas and drawn by Barry Windsor Smith back when he was just Barry Smith from London. This is Volume 1, and that is Barry Windsor Smith. That is a Barry Windsor Smith cover. And then the second volume is this one here. Just picture it says Epic Collections up at the top there. This is the cover that they reprinted for the second volume, which I tempted to call Hawks over Shem, but that's not the title. And this is also Barry Windsor Smith, but it is, as you can see, far more evolved in terms of an art style. And Michael points that out in his own video, that Barry Windsor Smith started out with a very Kirby-esque art style in these first few issues. And I want to show you that. I'll show you an example of that Michael did as well in his video, but let's look at Conan the Barbarian #1. And see if we can see what is being referred to here. Here's Conan the Barbarian #1. And as you can see, it is a very Kirby-esque style. Lots of motion lines, lots of energy blasts where things make contact with each other. Lots of simple choreography. In this first issue, I'm not sure that you would be able to really distinguish a difference. I mean, look at that. That is a very Kirby-esque panel. And that changes over time as these issues go forward. I can give you an example later on. We get to the Tower of the Elephant, issue #4 of Conan the Barbarian. Here Conan is fighting a giant spider. And as you can see already in only 4 issues, it feels a little different. It doesn't, I don't think Jack Kirby would ever have drawn a page that looked like this. And then it goes on. It goes on from there. I want to get you one really dramatic example from later on here, a panel that really sticks out in my mind from that issue with Red Sonja. Look at that. See, this is only a year later, but you can see that Barry Windsor Smith's artwork, look at the detail there. You can see that his artwork has completely changed into something that, no offense to Jack Kirby, Jack Kirby would never have attempted a panel like this. Look at the detail up there. That's just astonishing. And that characterizes this run on Conan the Barbarian. Oh, I've lost the iPad. Wow. Okay. Well, I don't particularly need it to talk about this. One of the details that I found kind of charming. Oh, it seems to have come back. Those two epic collections that we're doing today are contained in this volume, a big hardcover omnibus of Conan the Barbarian, the original Marvel years, that features the whole run of Roy Thomas and Barry Windsor Smith, with assists from the great Gil Kane, from John Buscema, who later took over the title and ran with Conan with Roy Thomas for decades, and did, I think, a lot for establishing the visual iconography of the character that Barry Windsor Smith did not do. Nor did anybody else, including Robert E. Howard. I think we owe as much about Conan, our love of Conan, whether we know it or not, to Roy Thomas as we do to the original creator of the character. And that's not as much blasphemy as it sounds. That happens all the time. No one in the world thinks of Iron Man the way Stan Lee created him. They think of Robert Downey Jr. They think of someone else's re-envisioning of the character. That's not the ultimate crime. I certainly recommend the Robert E. Howard Conan stories. And they're all in this volume. And Michael K. Vaughan has both. He has this volume and the other two. And one of the details that I found charming in his video, I'll leave a link to it down below, is that he speculates on why Marvel made 2 epic collections out of that one volume. And he speculates that it was just too big. So they had to split it into 2 volumes. Actually, that's not the case. They could easily have made an epic volume that was the whole of this. They did it for money, of course. Marvel did it for money. They did it to make money, to double the amount of money on this thing by breaking it into pieces. And they're, again, not the sole villain. DC has done that many, many times. DC regularly used to come out with gigantic, nearly 2,000-page omnibus volumes of Brave and the Bold, or Superman, or Batman, or the Legion of Superheroes, and then commence breaking them up in the trade paperbacks. Give the trade paperback original artwork, as in this case, Cary Nord artwork, and you guarantee that collectors are going to get it anyway, even though, like in Michael K. Vaughan's case, they already have it. It's not the case with me. I haven't yet popped for this first volume of the Marvel years, even though it has a couple of my favorite Conan stories in it. I haven't yet done that. I probably will, probably online at eBay or Amazon Marketplace. I could probably find this for dirt cheap, as opposed to the $125 that's asked for these volumes when they come out new. I just haven't done it yet. They're a little unwieldy, and sometimes the paperbacks seem more tempting. I've had these things in many different editions. These original Conan stories I've had in many different editions. There was a Marvel Treasury edition that we've seen on this channel that reprinted in much bigger pages some of these issues. There's the electronic versions that are pinchable. You can actually zoom in on the artwork. You can even do it with this cover, yes? If you wanted to, you could zoom in on this cover. And there are the Epic collections now. That is a lot of duplication. Plus, buried in a closet here at Hyde Cottage are long boxes that contain these issues. Somewhere here at Hyde Cottage, there is a long box that has Tower of the Elephant in it with the 15 cents or 12 cents that I paid for it at the newsstand, where I thought, this is really neat. I unlike Michael, I was already a big fan of the Conan stories by the time Marvel adapted them. And I confess, I know it's heretical now to say, but I confess those original Barry Windsor Smith issues filled me with despair instead of happiness. It wasn't until John Buscema took over and we got an older, heavier set, bigger Conan, who didn't have, the Maud Britain, Fleet Street, Austin Powers type hairdos. It wasn't anything. Once we got away from that, I know those issues are dealing with a young boy Conan, but even so, John Buscema struck with a visual iconography for the character and just stuck with it. And I think it really worked. And worked more for me than these early issues. These early issues filled me with a little bit of dread. It turned out to be totally misplaced. This run on Conan is beyond epic, beyond incredible. But the great stories were going to be the acid test for me. Not so much what you might do, how you might adapt Grim Grey God, but what you're going to do with Tower of the Elephant. What are you going to do with the Frost Giant's Daughter? What are you going to do with those stories? And even this original collaboration with Roy Thomas and Barry Windsor Smith knocked them out of the park. They were all adapted again. They have all been adapted many times. But I confess, my heart goes out to the adaptations that are later and that were done either in Conan the Barbarian or in Conan the Barbarian's sister title, The Savage Sword of Conan, with artwork by John Buscema. I just like him better. That's all. Even though Barry Windsor Smith in these issues achieved a level of artistry that I don't think Buscema ever really even aspired to. I don't think that was what he thought. He was more of a draftsman. One way or another, these two epic collections, although they reek of Marvel greed, are fitting recompense for having put me through the Hulk epic collection last time. That was not pleasant. So I'm grateful to Michael for these two. I actually had them in my hand at my local Barnes & Noble, both of them. I had them in my hand, and I thought, this is ridiculous. This is just you falling to marketing. If you want these issues, you have them. I have them already electronically, but if you want these issues, then the amount of money that you're paying for these two epic collections together is probably the same amount of money or a little more than you would pay for a second-hand but new condition hardcover omnibus edition that has all of them. And it is just one big durable hardcover. So I put them back. Obviously, Michael did not. But we're going to see. We will see what his epic choice is for next week. I invite you all to join us then. These Marvel tours are so much fun. They're not the real superhero comic book company, of course. That's DC Comics, the home of Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and Green Lantern and the Flash and the Justice League and the Justice Society and the Legion of Superheroes and Crypto the Superdog and so on and so forth. But they'll do. These epic collections spar wonderful conversations. So I'll leave a link to Michael's video down below, and I'll wrap this up for now. But I will see you all soon. Thank you, BookTube.